Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel AglaSem School. So today in this video we are going to discuss about NCERT solutions for class 10th, and the book which we are covering is India and the Contemporary World Second, and the part which we are doing is history part from the subject social science, and we are doing chapter number 5, and the name of the chapter is Print Culture and the Modern World. So guys, let's start with page number 128, and here question number 1 says give reason for the following. So the A part is wood block print only came to Europe after 1295. So the solution for the same is Marco Polo, the Italian explorer, visited China and learned the technology of wood block printing. When he returned to Italy in 1295, he brought his knowledge back with him. Gradually, this knowledge spread from Italy to the other part of Europe. Now moving to the next, that is B part from the same question, that says Martin Luther was in the favor of print and spoke out in the praise of it. So let's start the solution. In 1517, Martin Luther, the religious reformer, wrote 95 theses that criticized the corrupt practices of Catholic Church and pasted these on the church door in Wittenberg. Very soon, the thousands of copies of Luther's theses were printed, spreading these ideas among people. Martin Luther was deeply moved by realizing the power of printing, which brought about the Reformation movement and the eventual birth of Protestantism. Let's move to C part, which says the Roman Catholic Church began keeping an index of prohibited books from the mid-16th century. Solution for the same is print and popular literature encouraged many distinctive interpretations of religious faith and ideas. In the 16th century, Monuccio, a ruler in Italy, began to read books available readily in his locality. He gave a new interpretation of a Bible and formulated a view of God and creation that enraged the Roman Catholic Church. As a result, Monuccio was hauled up twice, ultimately executed when the Roman Catholic Church began its Inquisition. Moving to the next, that is D part. Gandhi said the fight for Swaraj is a fight for the liberty of speech, liberty of press, and the freedom of association. So the solution is Mahatma Gandhi said these words in 1922 during the non-cooperation movement, which is between 1922 According to him, without the liberty of speech, the liberty of press, and freedom of association, no nation can even survive. If the country was to get free from foreign domination, then these liberties were quite important. So this is all for question number 1 from page number 128. Now moving to question number 2 from the same page, page number 128, which says write short notes on what you know about. First is A. Gutenberg Press. Second is Erasmus Ideas of Printed Books. C is Vernacular Press Act. So let's start with the A part. The Gutenberg Press Act was the first printing press of Europe. It was invented by Jonas Gutenberg of Strasbourg. He grew up in the large agricultural estate and had knowledge and experience in operating olive and wine presses. He invented a printing press around the year 1448, with the Bible being the first book to be printed. Now moving to the B part, that is Erasmus Ideas of the Printed Books. Erasmus, the Latin scholar, was not happy with the printing of books because he was afraid that this would lead to circulation of books with rebellious ideas. He felt that although the few books may give useful information, the majority of the books may just irrelevant or illogical, through which scandalous of irreligious ideas will spread, ultimately leading of incitement of rebellion. C is the Vernacular Press Act was passed in 1878 by the British government in India. This act provided the government with extensive rights to censor reports and editorial in the vernacular press. If a vernacular paper published any seditious material, the paper was banned and its printing machinery was seized and destroyed. Moving to the next, that is page number 128. What did the spread of print culture in the 19th century India mean to a woman, to the poor people, to reformers? Let's come to the solution. A is women. Women became as important as readers and writers. Reading habits improved among them. With an increase in literacy, women took great interest in reading and writing. Many journals started emphasizing the importance of women's education. Many magazines and books were especially published for women. The print culture gave women some amount of freedom to read and develop their own views on various issues, especially those related to women. Now let's come to the poor. The poor, as the literacy rate improved in Europe as well as in India, printed material, especially for entertainment, began to reach even poor. In England, penny magazines were carried by peddlers and sold for a penny, so that even poor could buy them. Those who could not read could listen to the stories and folklore. These stories and folklore could be read out to them by others. Books could be hired on nominal fees from some books owner. Even in India, very cheap small books were brought to the market in 19th century. Madras towns, which allowed poor people to have access to print culture. C is reformers. Reformers used newspapers, journals and books to highlight the social evils prevailing in the society. Raja Ram Mohan Roy published the Sambad Kaumudi to highlight the plight of widows from the 1860s. Many Bengali women writers like Kailash Bhashini Devi wrote books highlighting the experience of women, about how women were imprisoned at home, kept in ignorance, forced to do hard domestic labor, and were treated unjustly by menfolk they served. Moving to the next, that is discuss, and here question number 1 is, why did some people in the 18th century Europe think that culture would bring enlightenment and end despotism? So the solution for the same is the spreading of new ideas. From the coming of print culture, the ideas of scientists and philosophers now became more accessible to the common people. Ancient and medieval scientist texts were compiled and published. Second is books as medium of progress. By the 18th century, books became a medium of spreading progress and enlightenment which could change society and the world. It was also believed that the books could liberate society from despotism and tyranny. C is writing of scholars. The writing of thinkers such as Jean-Jacques, Thomas Paine and Voltaire were also widely printed and could gain popularity. Thus, their ideas about science, rationality and reasoning found their way into popular literature. D is scientific discoveries. Map and more accurate scientific diagrams were widely printed when scientists like Isaac Newton began to publish their discoveries. They could influence a much wider circle of scientifically minded readers. Moving to the next, that is, why did some people fear the effect of easily available printed books? Choose one example from the Europe and one from India. So the solution for the same is, some people, especially from the upper class, fear the effect of easily available printed books due to the spread of literacy among the common people. They feared that they might lose their position and authorities. Some people thought that it might lead to the spread of rebellion and irreligious thoughts. Example is, in Europe, the Roman Catholic Church tried to curb the printed books through the Index of Prohibited Books. Second is, in India, the Vernacular Press Act imposed restrictions on Indian press and various local newspapers. Now, moving to the next question, that is question number 3 from the same page, page number 128. So guys, let's concentrate on question number 3, which says, what were the effect of the spread of print culture for the poor people in 19th century India? Solution is, public libraries were set up in the earlier 20th centuries, expanding access to books. These libraries were located mostly in cities and towns, at the same time in prosperous villages. For rich local patrons, settling up a library was a way of acquiring prestige. From the late 19th century, issues of caste discrimination were written about in many printed tracts and essays. Jyotibai Phule, the Maratha pioneer of low caste protest movement, wrote about the injustices of a caste system in his Gulamgiri 1871. In the 20th century, B.R. Ambedkar in Maharashtra and E.V. Ramaswamy Naikar in Madras, better known as Periyar, wrote the powerful on caste, and their writings were read by the people all over India. Local protest movement and the sects also created a lot of popular journal and tracts criticizing ancient inscription and envisioning a new and just future. At the very least, it made poorer people aware of the rights and their place in society, and print media showed the way in which they can improve their lot in life. Moving to the next, that is question number 4, which says, explain how the print culture assisted in the growth of nationalism in India. Solution is, print culture assisted in the growth of nationalism in India in the following ways. In the end, the 19th century, a large number of newspapers and Indian vernacular languages were published, and making it easier to circumvent the language barrier among the various ethnic groups of Indians. B is, these newspapers published articles written by national leaders. Their ideas were communicated to the masses through their newspapers. C is, the people of different communities and places were thus connected by the print media. Newspaper conveyed the news from the one place to another, created a pan-Indian identity. D is, the nationalist newspaper exposed the colonial misrule and encouraged nationalist activities. As these were written in the spoken language of various regions, the common man could easily understand the context. E is, for example, when Punjab revolutionary were deported in 1907, Balangadhar Tilak wrote articles sympathizing with them. He was arrested, which provoked protest among masses. Thus, it is clear that print culture assisted the growth of nationalism in India. So guys, this is all for the video. Hope you like our video. If you did, then don't forget to hit the like button and share this video with your friends. And the most important part of the video is that don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel, that is AglaSem School. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye.